Welcome to the channel, and today's find is a Shark Navigator lift away vacuum that we found last night. So we're going to go through this thing, and we're going to see why it was thrown away and if it's still useful. It looks in pretty darn good shape. So let's get into it. Let's get involved. Alright, so I have seen this vacuum cleaner online for around $180. At one time it was $200. It's not a very old vacuum cleaner, and you can see already it looks like it's in great shape just from doing the basic cleaning of it. Now, it was absolutely filthy. The filters were clogged and black, and I did go ahead and clean those off, and those are right here. One is just foam and the other goes on the bottom. You can see how nice they look. It took a little while just running them with water in the sink. Used some Dawn soap on them, and then I set them by the heat exchanger. If it was summer, I'd put them outside, but they're nice and dry now, so we're going to get to that shortly. But let's just take a quick look at a video. This would have been a product promotion infomercial video. It's just some of the basic features of this vacuum cleaner. Alright, so we have this vacuum cleaner here. Not too bad of a vacuum cleaner. We're going to remove the housing that you clean the dust out of. Here, the bucket. So there's just two clips on each side of it here. And we'll remove that. Now, I had already cleaned this. This opens up in the bottom, and also opens up in the top part here. And that's all been cleaned out. And we have a couple filters which I had cleaned out, and you could see these filters are kind of bell shaped. You have the flat one that goes in first, and then the foam one above it, and these were absolutely caked. If it was thrown out for that reason, that would be the reason. There was another reason that we're going to look at, and that would be the hose, and I'll go get that attachment right now because I had cleaned that out as well, and we'll take a look at what the issue is with that and see if we can't rectify that situation. Alright, so you can see the top part of the handle here, and this is kind of nice because you can release this handle and remove it as you're carrying the canister with you that comes off. There was an issue here. You can see a bunch of this that I've taken off, and towards the end of this connector here, which goes into here, it would go like that. It was split. It was split right about there. Now, when it is split there are some things you can do to fix it. You don't need to buy a whole new hose here. Since it is at the end, it's a little bit easier. So what I had done is just where it was split here, I took some cutters, and that is wire. It is wire, and I just simply cut it off, and I ended up with this here. You can see it's that's pretty much where it was split there, and I pulled it out and kept pulling it out of the end connector here. And then I basically just took, you can see it's kind of like threaded inside of there. I just took a screwdriver, and it was kind of like a soft glue, and just to remove it from the threads and clean them up best I could. So now I'm going to try to, once I've cut that off, it's basically like a screw. You should be able to screw this back into the hose, and that's what we're going to do now. So let's do it. Alright, so we have our cleaned up end of the hose. Now you're only losing probably half an inch or an inch or so. It's not much of hosing. Now if it had been up here towards the middle of the hose, it would have been different, but we kind of lucked out here. And I have the end piece, which has some threads in it, and I'm just going to try to thread this back into it. Now I could use kind of there was a glue, it was a rubbery glue. I probably wouldn't use like a super glue or anything like that, and I'm just going to see if it's tight enough. I may not even need glue. It's basically this wire is going to thread into here, so let's press it in there and see if we can't get it to thread. Alright, so that's pretty solid connection there. I was just turning it the wrong way. It's got to turn that way. So it is tight. I don't see any issue with needing any kind of glue there. That's not going to come out. And then this will just click back into this part there. So let's move on to the next step, and we'll remove this part, and we'll get into the brush part and clean that up a little bit. Alright, so what is nice about this vacuum cleaner, now I have a Shark as well. It's not this brand of Shark, it's not the Navigator, but I've had it for years, and it's got the swivel just like this one does. Actually, it's a very nice vacuum cleaner. But with this one is kind of neat because you can unhook this entire portion here just by releasing this button. And we can move this top part of the vacuum aside. I guess the idea is you can carry it around with you, which is kind of cool, and kind of use it as a mini shop vac kind of deal. So here's the bottom part, and we're going to clean it. And you can see it's filthy inside of there. So normally I would take a razor blade and just clean this hair off. The brushes look like they're in good shape. But I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove these screws. We're probably going to have to remove these little wheels and pop them out with a screwdriver here. So let's try that first. They just snap in there. These are the tiny little rollers that go in the front. Don't lose the pin. There's a little pin that goes in there. And we'll do the other one. I think what would be easier is if we're going to give it the 100% go through. So we're going to remove it, wash all the parts inside. We can check the belt. And just check everything out inside of there and make sure everything's working good. Alright, so we're just going to remove these screws here. The reason I had to remove those little rollers is because there's screws underneath those rollers that we need to remove. So we'll just get these out. Magnetic screwdriver is your friend here. We'll get a look and see what this looks like inside. Get a look at the motor. We'll clean it all out. Overall, so far, I mean, not bad. The hose was split when I had found it, and that could have been the reason it was thrown away, and the fact that it probably wasn't working very well because it's filthy. And it seems like the most found items that I find are vacuum cleaners. But I've actually passed up a bunch of them. You know, if it's like a Bissell, I don't really, you know, I found some really cheap, you know, they're really light and really cheap. So I'll just leave them there. Let's see, I don't know if there might be another. I got that one. There are a couple here. We might have to take these two out of here. There's some in the back here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that we have to take out here. But it's a good idea anyway, because you need to go in there and inspect the belt, and also we'll get this roller looking like brand new here. And then we'll test it out and see what we got. Alright, so we got that part out. Now you can see it's all filthy. We're going to clean all of that up. It'll look like new when we're done. So we'll get that bottom part off. And there you can see the electronics. We have a relay in there. There's a light, there's a capacitor, there's a bunch of different things. The motors right here, we can put some oil on that while we have it open. The belt is right here. So let's remove this roller, which is all full of nasty hair. And the belt is in really great shape. I don't know if you could see that belt. The belt's in really great shape. It looks like brand new. But we're definitely going to put some oil in this motor while we have it apart there. So here we have the roller. And what we can basically do, typically I would do this outside, but it's really cold out. I'm just going to cut away with a razor blade. Just cut away whatever hair that you can get here. This is much easier getting it with the roller off, that's for sure. We're going to set this nasty hair aside and just keep kind of slicing at it, and we'll get this roller back to new condition here, and then we'll wash it off, and I'll probably set it by the heat exchanger and let it dry up a little bit. We can also apply a tiny bit of oil to the ends of the rollers where they turn. So we got all this, a lot of nasty nasties in there. And basically just scrape it with the razor blade. It's much easier than trying to unwind it all. Get all that hair out of there. The brush is actually in really good shape. And then we'll clean up this area of all this nasty stuff. Yeah, that would definitely keep it from working properly, that's for sure. This is much better shape now. We're gonna give it a cleaning in the bathtub. I think that'll be the best thing to do now. Normally, if it was nice out, summertime or something, I would take it outside. Yeah, the brush is looking really good shape. So, yeah, definitely looks better. That didn't take that long. So I'm going to clean up all this nasty stuff here. And I'm going to bring this in the tub with this part that has the hair in it as well on the glass. It would be the front part here. And we'll get in there and we'll clean that all up, make it look like new. We'll wipe this up. We'll put a little tiny bit of oil on the motor. We'll get it back together and then we'll see what happens. Alright, so we've got these in the tub here. The brush and the housing there where you see the brush spinning in the front is full of some garbage. So we're going to get some water on it. I have some soap and a couple scrub brushes, and nothing crazy, and a scrubby pad. Use some hot water. Clean the hose out. We have our brush. Let's put some soap on there. I'll just clean out. Make that sight glass real nice. Clean up the front. You don't have to go crazy, but you know, I like having things really clean. It's going to be like a new vacuum cleaner when it's done. We don't want someone else's dirt either. And really, whoever had this really didn't take that good care of it, which is why it ended up in the trash. So I'm just going to get this roller. I probably won't even need those brushes actually to scrub anything. And then we'll give it a rinsing. Inside of the hose, you can see the garbage falling out of here. And get it real good. Much better. So we'll set this aside to dry. Rinse the roller. Alright, not bad, huh? It looks brand new. The brushes are great. We're going to let these two dry, and I'm going to clean up all the mess that I've made. You can see all the nasty hair that came out of there. Alright, so as you can see, all the parts are all cleaned up nicely. Look at how nice that brush came out here. Really good shape, looks like new. And we have our the motor part of the Shark, which controls the brush here. Belt's in great shape. You can see the motor looks great. We did look at the belt, and the belt is in real good shape. Won't need to replace that. So I guess the next step here is we're going to put this stuff back together. And there is this part here, which I'm going to take out, and I think the best thing for that is using an air compressor. There is a Hepa filter inside of here. The Hepa filter you don't want to wash in the sink. So the best thing to do with that, other than replace it, is to take it outside with an air compressor and blow some air through there. And I'm also going to do that with this part of it. And then we should be able to test it out and see how this thing works. So let's do it. Alright, so while we have it open, I have this can here that I keep the 3-in-1 oil in. And it's absolutely horrible, the design of this. This jar is basically empties itself, this container. so I have to keep it in. This is full of oil in here. If I don't do this and I use it and set it somewhere, the next day there'll just be oil all over the place. So maybe 3-in-1 can work on fixing this telescoping spout that doesn't work very well. But what I do is I'll just take a twist tie and dunk it in the oil. So I don't want to get crazy on this motor anyway. And then I'll tip it to the side and I'll just let the oil, you know, not crazy, just let the oil work itself in there. And this will just do it a drop at a time so you won't make a mess. And then I'll turn it. You know, it's not going to hurt while we're in here to do this kind of stuff. It's definitely maintenance and help it last longer. So we'll get a little bit in there. And then we'll do some more turning. Just kind of work the oil in there. And the twist tie works real well because it only puts a drop at a time in there. Alright. So that looks good. I think what we're going to do next is we're going to piece this here back together. And we'll put the housing back on. You know, I'm not going to bore you with that. It's just the 8 screws. And then we'll connect this thing back together and we'll do some vacuuming with it and see how good it performs. Alright, so I thought I'd just show you how to put the belt and the roller back on here. If you took it apart, you'd probably know how to do this anyway, but what the heck, we're into it, so let's do it. These obviously are square, they're going to fit into the ends, and the belt will go around the motor gear here and also around the roller, obviously, and we'll put that in there. So as you can see, there's the roller part of it, and then the belt, which I'll tell you the part number on this belt, 3M-207-6, just in case someone's got to replace the belt. So that's in there. It's working smoothly. It's all clean. I'm going to slap this cover on. Just going to slap it in, put the screws back in there. I'll quickly do a blowout outside of this Hepa filter. Doesn't look too bad. And then we're going to fire this thing up and see what happens. Alright, so we've taken it outside and we've blown out this portion in here, which looks great. And we've also blew out the Hepa filter, so we're going to put this thing back together. And we'll do this together. Put the filter in. Real easy to get in there. We have the thin filter, which goes in first. And then we have this foam filter, which will go in there. And now we're going to set, which is kind of a neat feature of this, we're going to pop this back into the bottom. Pop it back into there. That's all it takes. Then we'll take our bagless clean out here. We'll put that in. And put the clips in. And then we'll just give it a quick, I usually take some pledge. I get some pledge Just give it a nice final cleaning here. Clean it all up. It's looking like it's brand new. Now there are a couple attachments. There's this attachment, it's a short attachment. There's supposed to be a long one, I believe, that comes with this, and maybe a brush for the lift away. But I have other brushes I can use. What's nice is this feature as well. You could take this handle off and you can vacuum with that while holding the lift away part of it. And we'll test that out in a minute. Just get some final cleaning on it. Not bad for a trash find. It's like a brand new vacuum now. Like I said, I have like 5 vacuum cleaners that are all like new. All that I found and repaired. But one of them I bought, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago to Shark, and it works very well. So I didn't mind putting the time into, if it's a good vacuum cleaner and it doesn't look terrible, I don't mind putting the time into it. It's well worth it. Alright, so look at the how nice it is, how clean it is. Thrown in the trash. It looks like brand new. So now I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it outside in the garage, and we're going to do some vacuuming with it and see how it performs. Alright, so we have this Shark Navigator. It's an NV352 model, and I put down some rice and some coffee, just a little bit. I don't want to go crazy. And first I'm going to try the vacuum part of it, the floor, and then I'm going to remove, since that's one of the features of this vacuum, is to remove that kind of the housing there and lift it off, and we'll use that to vacuum up some more rice. So let's see what happens here. Alright, wow, that thing, it works great. I mean, it's very quiet vacuum cleaner, very smooth running. We can open up this canister here. You can see it's collected some of the dirt, actually all of the dirt it seems like, from the rug and rice, and we have coffee in there. So overall, and I'll remove the canister, it even says here, loss of suction may occur if foam filter is not cleaned every 3 months. So I'm sure a lot of people don't do that. There were a few issues with it, like the hose here that was split, but we were able to cut it with some wire snippers and screw it back in there. Overall, really a great vacuum cleaner from what I've used it only for a few minutes, but I'm going to go in the house and do some things in there. But overall, great find. Can't beat it for free. Another fix from the curb. If you liked the video, hit like. Subscribe for future videos. It helps support the channel. And we'll see you next time.